start it like 3 different times. This one. I think I've got toothpaste on my shirt. Awesome. All right, so let's begin in a seated position. So placing that right shin in front of the left one, you'll just rest your hands down on the tops of your thighs. Close the eyes or softly gaze near the top of your mat. And for today, there's no need for props, although if you do have a low stool or a big pillow or something to help you from deeply folding, that will serve you, but you don't necessarily need it. So while you're sitting here, you can just rock side to side, feel the weight shift around. You can almost draw little circles with your hips, going one direction and then the other. And then you'll pause here at center. Try to reach the crown of the head a little taller. Take some of your biggest breaths of the day. Begin to tune into your breath. Really feel the inhale and the exhale. Take it out of the automatic breath that happens. Make it deeper, stronger. And then tent your fingertips off the side of your mat. Let's make a big sweep of the arms up overhead. Now your eyes can open as you look up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, bring hands to heart center. Let's take 2 more arm circles. You're starting to move with your breath. And then pausing at center. Take your right fingertips and tent them near the back of the mat, a little behind you. Left arm reaches up and turn towards the right. So this left arm can rest right in between the legs, or if you don't have as big of a belly, that hand might come towards the opposite leg. Starting to twist the spine, gazing towards the right and behind you, and still having that deep, full breath. Now let's keep this twist, but bring the left hand, just cup it underneath your left knee for a little support. Reach that right arm up, and we're now going to take a lean over towards the left. So the left arm is likely going to bend and allow you to kind of spin yourself open as you reach the right arm long. And then take it back to center. Let's have both hands rest off the side of the mat again. Relax the shoulders, lift the head, and inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands heart center. Good. Let's take this right leg and just straighten it towards the long edge of your mat. And the left foot is going to approach the inner right thigh. So you've got a seated tree pose. Now let's take that left hand behind you and the right arm reaches up. So again, you can keep this right hand inside that right leg, or you might be able to bring it over towards that left knee. Sit up nice and tall. And now let's take a counter twist over towards the left. Breath is full. Feel the lungs expand with every inhale. And exhale deeply. Let's place this right hand, just slide it inside that right leg and lift the left arm up. You're still twisted, but now take a lean over towards the right. And then come all the way back through center, face forward. Feel free to straighten that left leg, give things a little shake. And then sweep both feet to one side of the mat so you can climb forward to find your tabletop, hands and knees. Once you have your alignment, hands and knees, spread the fingers nice and wide, and then we'll keep moving with the breath and some cat-cows. So lower the belly, lift the gaze, press the tailbone towards the ceiling, that's your inhale. And the exhale, press the mat away from you, hug baby higher in towards your belly. Then inhale, pull forward, and exhale to tuck and round. Continue here, move with your breath's pace. Might be nice, long, exaggerated breaths. Definitely take your time. Come to pause right at center, and let's step the right foot to the back of the mat. So the toes are grounded, the heel is pressing down. Palms are also pressing down, so we're lengthening through your calf. Give baby a hug higher towards your spine. And then let's lift so that right leg is off of the mat. So we're gonna work on opening the hips up here. So for now, all 5 toes are facing somewhat down towards the mat, if that feels okay in your pelvis. And then what we're going to do is stack the hips. So that right hip on top of the left, and you'll see the toes now face off the right side of the mat. We're going to angle them down and then tap all 5 toes down to the mat. So with the breath, it's an inhale to lift a straight leg. Exhale to stack and open. Pause here. Slide your left shin just wider off the mat to get a little more stable. Let's again lift that right leg, and now you can stack that hip to stay. Both hands grounded are going to be most supportive, otherwise that right hand could find the hip. You press those hips forward off the right side of the mat, and that right arm may lift. You can circle up that wrist. Keep breathing though. And then that right arm could reach all the way past the ear towards the front end of the mat. Look down, return your hand to the mat. Let's drop those right toes behind you. Come back to tabletop and give that left wrist a nice circling now. All the way down to the forearms. When you're on the forearms, let the head be nice and heavy and just start to sway the hips side to side. From the forearms, we're going to find cat-cow. So you might not find as much movement through the spine as if you were on your palms, and that's totally fine. Just a different movement for the spine. So an inhale, really pull the hands back towards you as you pull your chest forward. And then the exhale, really tuck and round as much as you can. And keep going. Then come back to a neutral spine. You can set the knees a little wider and then just walk those hips all the way down towards the heels. You can stay here on the forearms, or you can take it more towards a traditional child's pose where the forehead comes all the way down to the mat and the arms stretch long. So even though this is a resting pose, still build your breath. Find that full energy. When you are laboring, you'll have these moments of quote unquote rest. It won't feel like rest, but it is rest in between the contractions. And I want you to still find deep breath even then. So focusing on full breath, even in this rested child's pose. Now let's take your child's pose into a tiny twist. So whether you're up on forearms or arms are straight, it's fine. Let's come to a tented left fingertips. Now if the arm is stretched out long in front of you, I would just bring that arm closer to you. Tent left fingertips, and let's just peek open towards the left. Pass back through the child's pose that you had just a moment ago. And then let's take it twist towards the right. So the right fingertips close to your body, tent them up and gaze towards the right. And then back to center. Let's make your way back up to tabletop. And we'll come to sit from here. So you can sweep the feet one way, walk yourself around, come sit down, and then let's take that left shin in front. So the opposite from what we found at the very start of class. Hands can rest down on the shins or the knees. You could also have the palms facing up and bring your first finger and your thumb together as a hand mudra. Eyes can close. Breath can become full again. Sitting up tall. Relaxing your shoulders. Taking some deep breaths, sharing the same breath with your baby. And then let's tent the hands wide. Inhale, reach up, look up, and exhale, hands to center. Two more of those again. So big sweep of the arms, really opening up the chest on that inhale. One more. Now let's take that left hand off the side of the mat and a little behind you. And that right arm is up by your ear. So we're going to twist towards the left, and then you can see if that right hand can come all the way across to the left leg. Otherwise, it can rest in the middle or even on that right leg. So twisting, totally healthy for the spine, both during and obviously before and after pregnancy. So we're not looking for your deepest twist here, just getting a nice rotation of the spine. Now stay in the twist wherever you are, but the right hand is now going to cup underneath that right knee. Left arm reaches up and take that side lean. So that right hand can almost pull you into the side lean. And then come back to center. So now we'll straighten just the left leg out in front of you, and the right foot can approach midline. So the left leg, feel free to open it up a little wider. It doesn't have to come straight out from your hip. You can allow some space for your pelvis. Let's have that right hand reaching behind you again, and the left arm up, twist towards the right this time. So either that left hand can drop inside the left leg, or it may approach to the outside of that right leg. So just listen. You shouldn't feel any tightness or pinching or pulling, just a nice, gentle stretch. Now let's take that left hand, glide it inside the left leg as the right arm sweeps up. And again, you can take that side lean, reaching towards those left toes. Not going to get them today, but that's the intention. Good. Come out, reface forward, straighten that left leg, and then let's place both feet near the wide edges of the mat, having the bend in the knees. The hands can land behind you, fingertips facing out, or you can even face them in if you want a different wrist feeling. Take an inhale here at center, and an exhale to let the knees drop towards the right. Inhale back to center, and exhale, they go to the left. So you'll keep windshield wipering with your breath. After that final round, you'll come back to center. So this next stretch is going to be for those of you who are experiencing any sciatica pain, like that pain that's right in your butt or the low back area. So let's all start by straightening your left leg on the mat and take your right ankle and rest it on your left thigh. Know if at any point this is not feeling good for you, this isn't going to be your pose. So I just want you to listen. This is probably going to be fine for most bodies. You're intending this right knee more open, getting into this outer right hip. So the next step is you could now bend into your left knee by planting the left heel on the mat. Now, some of you might be able to get a full left foot down, but again, I want you to listen to your low belly, not feel any kind of tightness, pinching, or pulling. And then we're getting a deeper stretch along that right hip. All right, let's release this and take it to the other side. So left leg long, right leg long. You can bring the hands forward, circle out your wrists, circle out your ankles. And then again, hands behind you. Any way you found the first side, totally fine. This time, let's take your left ankle and rest it on your right thigh. And we'll breathe here for a few moments. This might be your edge and it's totally fine. You could go one step further by sliding that right heel closer to your body. The foot might approach all the way down, but it doesn't need to. The stretch should be happening on that outer left hip. And then release by straightening bottom leg. Then that top leg. You can again shake the legs, circle the wrists, circle the ankles. And then we'll come forward again. So feet can sweep one direction. Come all the way through to your tabletop, hands and knees. And we'll be straightening your left leg long. Toes are touching down. Get length in the back of the leg. You're also pressing the hands into the mat so that you can lift this mid back towards the ceiling, and you'll feel the tailbone slightly tucks under and you're engaging your deep core muscles. Now let's float that left leg, but you're still pressing the heel nice and strong. So you're working your hamstring and your glutes. Let's get into the hips. So stack your left hip on top of the right. Now the toes are facing towards the left. Square the foot back down and then re-tap all 5 toes to the mat. So an inhale to lift that leg. The exhale to stack and open. Inhale to re-square. And exhale, tap down. One more round. Inhale. Exhale, stack. Inhale. Exhale, tap down. Slide your right shin a little wider. Let's lift that left leg again. Stack the hip again. Strong foot, strong leg. You can definitely stay here. Or there's balance where you can tent left fingertips, hands to hip or overhead. And you could even reach that left arm long. Strong left leg. Focus on deep breath. Then let's look down. Return that knee down to the mat. Circle your right wrist out. And take it down to the forearms again. You can softly interlace the hands out in front of you or have palms flat. You can determine what feels best. We're going to draw some hip circles. So you can go one direction to begin with. Moving with your breath, noticing if it takes a full breath to draw a full circle or if you have to split up the breath at all. Now you can take this movement as slow and controlled as you'd like. If you're a little bit quicker with the movement, that's fine too, but I want you to really feel what you're feeling. Notice what you feel in the hips, the outer hips, the pelvis, the shoulders. If you're planning an active labor, some of these poses may become natural to you while you're laboring. You might find yourself on hands and knees and moving the hips around, finding some cat-cows or child pose during rest. So the more you become familiar with the poses in class, they might just come very naturally to you on delivery day. And then let's think about shifting hips in the opposite direction. Find your way to center. Prop yourself back up onto your hands. We're going to set up for our first downward facing dog. Believe it or not, we've done all this class so far without any inversion. So tuck those toes under, let your hips rise up, and give a nice pedaling through the knees and the feet. So try to let each heel drop down to the mat one at a time as you lengthen the back of the legs. At the same time, you can circle the head one direction and the other, or even just shake it yes or no. You could add swaying the hips side to side, letting one knee cross midline at a time. And then let the feet go wide. Bend the knees as you walk the hands backwards. Elbows will touch the thighs. Take an extended forward fold here. Release the head down. Allow the arms to hold you up. Deep couple of breaths. Then plant the hands on the thighs. Just come up halfway. Get your bearings. And then all the way up to standing. You can bring the feet a little closer together. And then reach the arms up. So as tall as you can get, inhale. And exhale, center. Again, inhale up. And exhale, center. So I'm just going to turn towards the side. You stay where you are. We're going to work into chair pose, so the feet comfortable distance. You have space between the feet. They don't need to touch anymore while you are doing prenatal yoga. Let the heels have a lot of the weight as you bend into the knees. So find your leg stance. See if you can, once again, hug baby a little further towards the spine. So you've got a really nice locked core. And then basket the hands behind your head. Press the elbows wide behind you. And then lift the chest. Press those elbows back. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck and round. Elbows fall in towards the face. Big opening. Inhale. And exhale. Round. Take a few more of those, between 2 and 4 rounds. Feel the energy and the strength building up in your legs. Also meaning energy and strength for your pelvic floor. Then we'll all come back to center. Now stay with me. I'm just going to turn around. We're going to drop that left elbow off the side as the right elbow lifts up. So you still have this same interlace, but lift the head up, press the head back into that elbow now, and take a lean over towards the left. So you'll get a nice stretch for your right side ribs. Come back to center, hands to the head, straighten those legs, sweep the arms up, and then again, hands to heart center. Let the arms just go down by your sides. You can find some shoulder circles, gaze one way or the other. We're going to take that right to the other side. So set the feet up, they're apart, weight in the heels, bend into the knees. So find whatever stance you have here, whatever degree you have bent in the knees, and try to keep it. Then interlace. Take that opposite thumb on top. So this might feel more awkward with the hands. We're building symmetry. Let the elbows fall back. Tilt the chest a little higher. Inhale. And the exhale, let's bring it in again. Inhale, open up. And exhale to round. Again, going for about 3 more. That might be 2, it might be 4. And then work your way back to center. So you'll keep the chair pose, but you're now going to let that right elbow fall towards the right as the left elbow is just behind the head, almost like a little pillow. Then stand tall, lift the chin, and take a side lean over towards the right this time. Let's shift to center, hands behind the head, straighten those legs, straighten those arms, rest down by your sides, give some shoulder shrugs. Couple of deep breaths if you'd like. And then place the top of your right foot just behind you. We're just going to now open up the chest. Arms wide and interlace the hands behind you. So if you're a first-time mom, this will be something new for you to come. If you are a second, third, fourth, fifth-time mom, once you have baby, you'll be holding baby, nursing baby, feeding, and your shoulders are going to start rotating somewhat inward. Just naturally, you've got a baby, you're holding this inward energy now. So we're going to really open everything up in preparation for that. So the top of the right foot down is to help extend the top of this right hip. Arms can go wide, just a simple interlace at the low back. Keep pressing that right hip forward, but now lift your chest and extend those knuckles down towards the mat. Just getting really broad in your chest. Face forward. Switch the interlace. So you've got the opposite thumb on top. Right foot is going to step just out in front of you. And now bring the top of your left foot down. So the top of that left foot is somewhat steering your left hip forward. So it's not opening up behind you. Again, kind of lift your heart up towards the ceiling. Gaze could also lift a little bit, but press the knuckles down, extend through the elbows. And come forward. Release the hands to the hips. Now step this left foot to the top of the mat. We're going to take a lean forward, but now take a step backwards so that right foot steps back. We're coming into your warrior two, so that right foot can likely heel toe just a little bit wider, and the toes are facing pretty much the long edge of that mat. Let's bend into your left knee and then extend the arms wide. Take a gaze over your front fingertips. And if you peek down to your left knee, it shouldn't be covering that big toe. You should be able to press that knee towards the left and see if you can see that big toe. It's pretty strong hip work to do that. Soften the shoulders, keep the breath moving. You've got this pose. Strong, power, feel the energy. Now, let's straighten that front leg. Allow the right hand to rest on the back leg. Flip your front palm and just take a reach up and back. We're going to move between a couple of poses. So from this reverse triangle pose, let's now come back to warrior two, but windmill the arms completely so that left elbow is down and the right arm is up and over. So now you're in side angle. So let's take a full inhale to straighten that leg. Reach the arm up and back. And the exhale to come back forward to your side angle. All right, inhale. And exhale. Two more. If my breath is a little too slow or a little too fast for you, you find your breath. That's what's most important. We'll end with this side angle shape. So familiar shape, we were in this shape when we were kneeling and finding that balance. Gaze can be down for more stability. It could also look out or even up. Let that right arm reach you all the way back up. Straighten that front leg, hands to hips. And now let those left toes face inward. If it's more comfortable to have the toes a little out, that's fine as well. Again, listen to your body. Let the hips kick over towards the left. Get a stretch for that inner right thigh, that left outer hip. Come back to center. And then go opposite direction. Kick that right hip towards the side. So it's almost like a variation of a triangle pose. We're staying very upright, but getting a stretch in the inner hips. And back to center. Let's take one more each side. Let the hips fall towards the left. And center. And then the hips towards the right. So you're trying to find two straight legs here so you get that stretch on the inner hip, the inner thigh. And center. All right, let's heel toe the feet in a couple of steps. Turn to face forward again. At the top of the mat, it's the right foot that is going to land. Take a little lean forward and a comfortable step of that left foot back. Then you might need to heel toe a little wider. Bend into your right knee. And it's warrior two, allowing the arms to go wide. Soften the shoulders. Again, try to press that right knee towards the right side of your mat. Try not to let the toes curl in against your mat. Try to have a nice open foot. And gaze over your front fingertips. Strong front leg. All right, let's straighten that front leg now. Left hand to the left leg. Flip your right palm up. And it's a reach up towards the ceiling and a little backwards. So here's your reverse triangle. Now we're going to float through your warrior two, but onward to side angle, reaching that left arm up and over. So with the breath, take a full inhale to reverse your triangle, straighten that front leg, and then a full exhale to glide back out, side angle. Inhale and exhale. Again, find your breath. We're going for 2 more full rounds. Meeting in that side angle pose. That right elbow can help guide that right knee wide again so it's not collapsing in. And then come back up to your warrior two. Hands to hips, straighten that front leg. Right toes are going to face in. And again, we can just rock the hips one at a time, side to side. So as you have straight legs, you'll get into that inner hip, the inner thigh a little bit more. So you can work this with the breath, taking an inhale center and an exhale one way or the other. If you'd like to add arms, you can basket behind the head again. You can even go wide. And then let's find center. Good. Heel toe those feet in a bit. Let's take a walk all the way to the back of your mat. Let the feet go wider. Sweep the arms up, big breath in. And an exhale to take a fold down, elbows at the thighs. An extended forward fold here. Make some space for the low back. Then look down to the mat. Let's walk the hands about halfway. So you should feel nice even weight between the feet. It's almost like a very tall tabletop pose. Now, if you're able to bring your hands down, that's fine. If the knees bend, totally fine. We're going to work some tall cat-cows here. So as you bend into the knees, pull your heart forward and let the tailbone rise. And then an exhale, you work on straightening the legs, tucking the chin, and hugging baby higher. So the knees definitely bend and move here. If they're bent the whole time, that's totally fine as well. Then let's look all the way to the top of the mat and walk it out, downward facing dog. The feet can come a little closer together then. You can move around again. This is going to be our final downward facing dog. We didn't do many today. If you'd like to take a 3-legged dog, you can lift that right leg in the air, stack the hip, give a little spin of the ankle even if you'd like. Drop that foot down and take it the other side. Now, some women do not like doing this in pregnancy. You don't have to. If you have a strong yoga practice before this pregnancy, it might come more natural. Then from your regular downward facing dog, let's take it to your tabletop hands and knees. Sweep the feet towards the right, walk the hands to the left, and let's come sit down. So we're going to revisit a grounded shape we found at the very beginning of class with that right leg straight and that left foot to the inner thigh, so your seated tree pose. We're going to revisit a twist and the option to get some spinal extension, a little bit of a back bend. So let's take the turn over towards the left. Left hand is back and the right hand just either to the left thigh or again inside that right leg. Now this next piece, you can see how it goes for you. You might be able to lift the hips a centimeter. You might be able to press the hips rather high. You might only hold it for a breath. You might hold it for 5 breaths. So listen to your body. Left hand all the way down. Right arm is going to reach up. What would happen is that left hand presses so the hips rise up and that right arm now reaches all the way back. So I'm not going to tell you how long to hold this pose if you are in it at all. Whenever you're ready to come down, you come down. And if you're still lifted, let's think about sinking those hips down towards the mat. We're now going to turn over towards that right straight leg. So keeping a long, tall spine, flex those right toes towards you. So you're sitting up nice and tall. You're getting a stretch behind that right leg. And then you take just a little lean out in front of you. So you're getting longer underneath the leg, the hamstring, and a nice opening for the low back. Walk yourselves back up. Take this left foot away from the leg, still finding the bend in the knee, and then take the right foot to meet it. So you have your diamond shape, your bound angle pose. Hands behind you, and again, we're going to make some space for the front body. Now you can stay here or you can work towards a forward fold. So here's where if you had any of those props to bring the floor closer to you, you could kind of rest the elbows down on something and then the head can fall into the palms. So if you don't have that step stool or yoga blocks, then you can just take a hold of the shins and take a lean forward and tuck the chin. Now if that is uncomfortable, then I would say take the lean back. Let's all come upright. So we'll straighten now that left leg out in front of you, and you can keep the right foot closer to the inner thigh. So seated tree pose, we'll start with your twist over towards the right. Right hand is back, left hand is inside the leg, or maybe approaching the outside of that right thigh. So lift, not lift, but try to peel all 5 toes of that left foot back towards your face. The heel might even lift off of the mat. you'd be working the top of your leg, just sitting in a simple seated pose here, twisting. Now we'll all plant that right hand down and the left arm up. So this could be your pose, or you're working those hips a little higher towards the ceiling. And for some of you, that left foot might come all the way down to the floor or the mat. Again, you come down whenever you are ready. And then let's all lower the hips back down to the mat. Find that tree pose with the legs and take a little turn over towards the left. So again, bring those left toes towards your body. If the heel rises up, the top of the leg is doing its job. When it's doing its job, it's nice and active, which means the bottom of the leg is more open for stretch. So active left leg, breathe in tall, and then take just a little walk forward to get even more length underneath the left leg. And then walk your way up. All right, we'll take one final pose. So the right leg will go long all the way off the side of the mat, and the left leg stays long. So you've got more of an open V shape. Hands behind you again. Let's just start with the opening of the chest. You can wiggle the toes out, circle the ankles. The eyes might even start to close. Now you can continue breathing here, especially if you're in your last few weeks of your pregnancy. It might feel better to keep this space in the front of the body. Otherwise, you take it forward. Now, if you don't have anything to bring the floor closer to you, I wouldn't just fold in and scrunch everything on the belly. I would stay on at least hands out in front of you and kind of walking yourself a little forward. Again, try not to just collapse your way in. And you can always stay with hands back. All right, let's all meet back at center. Bring the legs closer together so that you can give them a shake. You might even do one more of the hip release, windshield wipers side to side. And then we'll start to prepare for rest. So in prenatal yoga, you're laying on your left side body for your rest pose. So in doing so, if you've got a pregnancy pillow or even just a regular sleeping pillow, you can rest down the ear on your left arm, the bottom leg is straight, and then you can bend that top knee and rest it on a pillow. Now, if you don't have props, then you might bend into both knees and do this kind of fetal pose towards the left. I wouldn't suggest laying flat on your back anymore unless you're somehow reclined up, so a stack of pillows or something like that. I'm going to stay here to guide you through your Shavasana so you can close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. An audible exhale if you'd like to allow yourself to rest. Start to deepen the breath. Find little movements around in the ankles, the wrists. The chin can fall from one shoulder to the other. And then for a brief moment, you can roll onto your back and give a nice long body stretch. Reaching those fingertips for the back wall, extending the toes forward. And then roll onto your right side. Use a lot of your hands to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Once you find a comfortable seat, you might close the eyes. Hands can press at heart center. Take a couple of moments here to feel the effects of the practice. The opening and lengthening of your muscles. The movement with your breath. The stepping away from the outside world, tuning into your body. Let's end with a round of deep breath. Inhale to fill up your lungs. And exhale to let it go. Thank you for sharing all of your virtual energy. Namaste. Thank you to everyone who joined me.